our spy Malcolm Nance has a theory. Malcolm?
Yeah, Lev's being jammed by Department of Homeland Security. They're gonna say he's breaking the conditions of his parole, so they're jamming his internet.
They got flying saucer over, like you hear over they got helicopters circling every time
They got a
go.
drone. They're running a Reaper drone over your house and conducting surveillance. Don't worry about it. I'm sure it'll.
Well,
it'll pass.
let me, on behalf of Lev and Malcolm, wish to each and every one of you a very happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully, each of you have read at least nothing less than our Substacks of the morning. Mine, of course, sort of pokes fun at what it is that I'm thankful for, and what I am thankful for is for the turkeys who are actually running our country. The level of incompetence, the political theater, the self-inflicted disasters. Nothing entertains, frustrates, or guarantees blue midterms quite like sheer glorious chaos. And so, on behalf of all Democrats, I thank the idiots like Pete Hegseth and Bondi and Cash Patel and so many others, and Lutnick, and you name it. I thank them for their incompetence, because very much like what just took place in November, the special elections, we're going to see, if things like this keeps going forward, we're going to see another massive blue tidal wave.
Absolutely, and as I wrote in my Substack, I'm also extremely thankful. Thankful, besides, like all of us, thankful for our family. Thankful we woke up, we're breathing, we have our health, we have our loved ones. Thankful we have food on our table. Thankful for having this community. This community has turned into a family. Thankful for this movement that we're building together in this time of war, because we are in a time of war. Some literally in Ukraine, in the Middle East, and maybe now coming to Venezuela. And we here at home, we have troops on the ground. We have, our constitutional rights being taken away. So I'm thankful and grateful that, 7 months ago when I came on this Substack, I didn't even know what's going to take place, how this community is going to grow. And in the past 7 months, we've grown this into a powerful, incredible family. So I'm thankful for each and every one of you, for all of you subscribers that subscribe to our family, and for those of you that, obviously the paid subscribers out there, God bless you guys. Really thankful for all of you, because our whole families are thankful. So it's incredible day today, Malcolm.
Yeah, and I have been overseas on Thanksgiving Day in uniform, pulling, really shitty duty, and being out there where Thanksgiving is the 20, 30 minutes that you have for dinner, and you have a tray or a plate, and they give you turkey and gravy and stuffings and cranberry and all that stuff, and you eat it, and then you go back to work. That's Thanksgiving Day for thousands and thousands of our service members who are overseas, including all the ones who are deployed off of Venezuela right now, are getting these Thanksgiving messages from their family. But some people aren't getting Thanksgiving in a proper way. We have National Guardsmen who have been deployed to places like Washington, D.C. and other places, who are going to have to, the only thing they're going to get is they're going to get that 30-minute meal over at the DFAC, at the dining facility, and maybe a phone call to their mom and their family to watch them have a happy Thanksgiving. So we should all be very thankful for that we have, well, one, that we have servicemen and women who really do believe in what America is. And they're now being assigned by a crew of people that don't really believe or understand what America truly is. And they still do it selfishly. They still do it thanklessly out there. And we do have to let our prayers go out to the service members who, if I'm not mistaken, Michael, they've confirmed that those 2 service members have passed away.
Well,
today?
no. I mean,
No?
no.
Okay.
There was a whole slew of reports yesterday
Yeah,
that
I saw the message from the governor.
that they both passed. And my understanding as of this morning that they are both in critical condition. In
Well,
fact, we saw Pam Bondi come out and turn around and say, I'm sorry, not Pam Bondi, Janine Pirro came out and said that with this assailant, the Rahmola, right from Afghanistan, that understand that right now they're both still alive. But if she said, God forbid, and I agree with her, and I don't normally agree with Janine Pirro on anything, she said, God forbid that one or both of them pass. That's murder one. She goes, and
right.
this team will do everything within which to hold him accountable to the fullest extent of the law. So yeah, we do. We all send our prayers. I mean, it was fucking
Yeah,
another
well,
senseless. It's just another senseless. Whether you like the fact that they are there on the ground or not,
mhm.
they're doing what they're required to do. It's either that or they quit. I mean, the young lady service who was in this, one of the two service members was 20 years old. What the hell did she do to anybody? And the gentleman who was there, who was also shot, is 24. I mean, seriously, put them two together, and they're still both younger than any of the three of us.
And most people go in the Guard to do two things. One, get their college degree
Yep.
by working in this Guard, and the other is to help people. The DC deployment is not what they want to do. They want to be out where there are natural disasters. I spoke to
Yeah.
the DC Guardsmen when I was there, not just the DC Guardsmen. I spoke to Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee. But what they're not there to do is to be a shooting gallery for whatever your personal grievance is. And that could just as easily, I'm sorry to say it, it could just as easily have been two DC cops. I think he
It could
wanted to
have been
kill
just two
people
people
in
coming out
authority
of
or
walking, or
two
could have been
people
just
coming out of the metro.
two civilians. It could have been two guests of the country walking around the mall by Washington. It just happened to be. I mean, we're gonna get
Cra-
the full
Crazy is.
story from this guy, but I acknowledge everybody's um, thoughts and the fact that we are all thankful to be with our friends and our family, thankful to have you two. One thing that Lev and I share, Malcolm, that you don't,
Mm.
fortunately, or at least not yet. Lev and I both spent one Thanksgiving in Otisville. And let me be crystal fucking clear. If you think the food in your mess hall is bad, how about being served expired food, right? The only thing
Yeah,
that wasn't
yeah.
expired, that was expiring the day after, were the small apple pies that they gave, that came from, I don't know, from, one of the local charity groups.
They're like this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, our food was actually brilliant. It's all our Thanksgiving meals are awesome. Our Christmas meals are awesome. It's just you're eating it away from home and your family. And I feel sorry. And I'm glad you guys have time to spend time with your families this holiday. And everybody should be with their family this holiday. Um, you know, uh and we have just so much craziness going on that it's hard to do. So let's recap. I've been driving all day. I just drove back from Philadelphia, where I went to go spend Thanksgiving morning. I always do it with my late wife, and today just happens to be our wedding anniversary at
Oh,
the same
wow.
time. So,
Wow.
but I came home. I'm thankful, and my present. If my family is not here, but I'm here with people. And
Yeah.
that's the important thing, is that we
Well,
all
then I
have
want to make you sort
brotherhood.
of laugh for a second, Malcolm, to bring
Oh, please, Jesus, make me
a
laugh.
little bit of happiness on both, a wonderful day and a solemn day as well.
Thank you.
I start my Substack off. I was in at 4:30 in the morning. One of my sort of obnoxious moods, which
Uh-huh.
for whatever the reason, I seem to be getting more and more back into that obnoxious.
Was that like a Trump thing? You all had to wait till the 4 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah. My whole life I've gotten up that time. But I turned around and I started off by saying, today is Thanksgiving, the one day of the year when Americans collectively slow down. We breathe deeply and we remind ourselves that gratitude is still possible in a world that feels held together by duct tape, denial, and whatever remains of our national patience. Families today will gather around the table, overflowing with turkey, stuffing, and decades of unresolved grudges. We'll raise our glasses to health, to hope, and to surviving another spin around the sun without losing our mind. But me, I'm thankful for something uniquely American, something poetic, something that only a nation with our brand of stubborn optimism could appreciate. I am thankful for the assemblage of the most incompetent, bumbling bunch of fools ever to occupy a presidential administration. All right. And I'm not being
Oh, that's
hyperbolic here.
perfect.
I'm not
That's
exaggerating
perfect.
for dramatic effect, though God knows this crowd makes that damn easy. I'm literally talking about this all-star lineup of sycophants who somehow managed to turn every responsibility they touch into a five-alarm farce. Plain and simple.
That's very true.
This is the
It's,
worst group of bumbling idiots that I think have ever been assembled. It's almost like it's it's almost like Deadpool, right? Where everyone is Deadpool to the you know
This
you're
is not.
talking about his crew, maximum effort. His guys,
Yeah.
everybody jumps
Listen,
out and
guys,
dives.
guys, I promise you haven't seen anything yet. Give it another 6 months. Give it till once the rats start really running from the ship because Trump's not where. Once the House takes over and starts getting a subpoena power. Once they lose all that oversight power. Once this, oh my God, you're gonna see them turn on each other like and that's why what the timing is so incredible. Right now, we need to get our strength during the holidays. We need to be able because come January, folks, it's on. It's going to be on like
I
Donkey.
mean, imagine, Lev, if not only they take the House, but they take the Senate too.
That's what
And
I'm
by the
saying.
way,
Yeah.
let me be crystal clear. A lot of shit has changed over the last, 1 week. And I mean a lot. You're now seeing a whole slew of Republican senators saying, fuck this shit. I'm not going down with this shit. I'd rather leave as opposed to being like what we just saw in the early November special elections, where who's the young lady? I have a hard time pronouncing her name. Who's running in Tennessee? Trump won by 22 plus
Oh,
22, and right now she's only down by 2 points. Which, by the way, the margin of error is 5.
No, it's all over the country. Folks.
yeah,
Yeah, it's all over the country, Michael. It's going to be a major, and that's why right now there's such panic. Just think
yeah.
about it. Since November 4th, and that's the beauty of it. I'm glad everybody's seeing it, feeling it. This is the one thing we keep talking about is going on the offense. Nobody knows better how to do a good offense than Malcolm Nance over here. In a war, it's not just defense. You need a good offense strategically. And you see
Mhm.
what happens when Donald Trump is not out there parading and giving you. He's hiding now. Now he's not running to the cameras. He's trying to avoid the cameras, especially with the bumbling fools. You think about the bumbling fools we're talking about here. We're not even talking. Michael, you didn't mention the real bumbling fools like Witkoff and Kushner, who are right
Oh,
now
but no, hold on.
that are
Hold
running.
on 1 second. I'm
He,
glad
he,
you brought
he'll
that
get
up.
around to that.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Lev, because, right, as I say in the next, let's talk about just 7 of them. 7 key position where incompetence has merely exposed the rot in the administration. It's literally ostensibly dragged the president's favorability down to a historic, humiliating 36%. It is a number so low, it would even make Richard Nixon send a condolence card. And yeah, I start with Hegseth. I go to Robert Kennedy Jr. I talk about Pam Bondi, Christine Noem, Howard Lutnick, and of course, Steve Witkoff and Cash Patel.
Oh my God, those two. Oh my God. Cash Patel talking about we're going to get our man. And he was in custody, right? We're going to track him down till we're going to bring this guy to justice. We're going to catch him. It's like, bro, he's in an ambulance. Handcuffed. We just saw him. You know, this man's a fool.
Okay,
It's a fool.
He's gonna flip quicker. They're gonna flip on each other. You're gonna see them. You think you know what I can't wait is how it started and how it's going. You know how we have those comparison. Well, you see how they
Yeah.
are in front of Congress today, all cocky and telling congressmen and senators to go screw the. Wait till a couple of months from now, 6, 7, a year from now. Wait till the power shift changes. Wait till you see them sitting there and saying, "Excuse me, what did you say? My memory is not so good right now. Let me. Can I get a glass of water?" They're not
Dude,
gonna be that
you're
cocky.
gonna
I
see
promise you.
you're gonna see some of these House members smacking Cash Patel so hard in the head, his eyes are gonna go straight. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. They're gonna give him one good whack. Those eyes are gonna go like this and finally
Listen,
spin
you
around and
guys
go
haven't
straight.
seen it. There's a TV show on Apple called on Down Cemetery Road. And it's a British show, but it's about this government experiment that goes out of control. And there's a Cash Patel character who is completely incompetent. His boss is like this ruthless guy at the Ministry of Defense. And they chose this guy because he looks exactly like Cash Patel and he acts like him. He can't do anything right. Everything he does turns to complete shit. It's hilarious to see this character that people on the other side of the Atlantic are like, yeah, I need a South Indian guy, but make him look like Cash Patel for this role of the stupid, bungling idiot. We are being mocked and they don't even know it.
But speaking of stupid, bumbling idiots, Lev, I really want you to dive into this because this is sort of your field. I mean,
all the
walk us
bumbling
through
idiots
this.
are in my world.
Well,
they live down
happens
next
to be true. Talk about Steve Witkoff and this genius 28-point plan, the phone call to his Russian counterpart. Literally, like we've all been waiting for Steve Witkoff, real estate developers' wisdom, his clutch of wisdom, right, in order to guide a guy who's like the number 2 guy over in Russia with the KGB. Because thank God for Steve Witkoff. And then to have this group come out and praise Steve for everything that he's doing, directing a adversary on how to deal with the president of the United States in order to get this 28-point shit plan, all right, approved or at least put pressure on Ukraine.
I mean, guys, I think literally the very first letter I think I wrote when I came on to Substack had to do with Witkoff, Kirill Dmitriev, and Jared Kushner. I can't even believe that now, 7 months later, these are the 3 guys that exactly like we've been talking about. So look, first of all, this peace plan, it was never a peace plan. It was a surrender plan. Malcolm even saw the original plan back in the day. It was more. It was I think a 30-point plan at the time, or maybe even more.
Yeah.
They scrubbed it a little bit to take away the hardcore Russian facts for it to look. Witkoff came over here on the pretenses of meeting Anna Paula Luna, who was a congresswoman in Florida. But what really was going on is because they gave that media diversion of she's going to release the JFK files from the KGB. If you remember,
Dmitriev.
Yeah. Right. That was the time. That was in October. But in reality, when they were meeting in Miami, like mafia dons, like oligarchs, reminds me of me back in 2019 dealing on Trump's behalf. The same exact shit. It's incredible. Sitting there, and basically Dmitriev gave him the plan, told him that this is what's good for everybody. Because remember, now what the dangerous part is, what you're seeing is once you see Kushner come into the game, now you see this is already in Trump's mind, we're getting towards the end. In his mind, we're getting towards where we're going to start divvying up the pot. In his mind is where we're going to start now. Now it's where he needs Kushner's business brains to come in and now start. And that's why you see Kushner now flying next week with Witkoff to Russia. Because it's not like Kushner has any idea what's going right. Kushner has no idea about Ukraine. It's like, what I'm saying, now all of a sudden Kushner, from the Abraham Accords reports now Kushner is a specialist on Ukraine. No, Kushner,
No.
is going there because what we've been talking about, it's oil, it's gas, it's minerals, it's, a lot of different also oligarch money and a lot of also
It's
money like
technically real
Malcolm.
estate
Yeah.
too.
Real estate and also all the frozen money that Malcolm has been talking about, which the Russian.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of that is on the line. And besides all that finances, besides all that money, besides all of this la-di-da-di going back to 2017, folks, there's a real Trump now knows for a fact, and I've been told, that Witkoff knows, Trump knows, and what's his name, Kushner know for 100% some of the stuff that's in the Epstein files. And again, I'm not talking about Trump and 13-year-olds and foolish stuff. I'm talking about financial stuff. I'm talking about stuff that would put Trump in a very, very awkward position with what Russia has on him, that would connect everything, and it would basically destroy his whole history of saying that he and Russia have nothing together and they have nothing on him. So it's a combination of all those things and Witkoff is just basically the fact that you know what, and I'll tell you, the fact that he was sitting there and telling the Russians how to speak to Trump. By the way, Putin today came out pissed off today. I don't know if you saw that, guys. He came out and he made a statement.
No.
Pissed off. He said they're opening up an investigation. Whoever leaked or whoever overheard those phone calls, whoever, yeah, they're is gonna pay very
Find the
heavily.
real killer.
Right. They want to
We
find
all
out.
want to find out who did this thing.
Right, who taped to who? I mean, just think about. But you gotta understand, Witkoff's a fool. Just think about it. He goes to the Kremlin without his own interpreter. He uses their own interpreter. He brings his cell phone in with him. Remember during the Signal chat we spoke about that. So it's not that difficult to be able to tape him. They probably already, like Malcolm said 100 times, got into his phone in the hotel somewhere or somewhere where he was hanging out in the banya or in a restaurant or at somebody's house, because you know how they do. They'll bring you to some oligarch's house, wine you, dine you. You'll be sitting there flattering. You'll put your phone down for a second while you're looking outside at the beautiful, and they got operators already changing SIM cards, changing things. I mean, things like this really happen, folks. It's not just the movies. Trust me when I tell you, especially on the level that we're talking about over here. So, that's what's going on over there. And yeah, Witkoff right now and Kushner are going to be going to Moscow to meet. Just think, the crazy part is, Malcolm, I mean, you could really appreciate this. Steve Witkoff, I think, is going to be his 7th or 8th time he's going to meet with
He met
Vladimir Putin in a period of under a year.
Wait.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's ever met his daughter or his family so many times.
How about this? How about this, Malcolm? I want you to touch on this. How about the fact that Jared Kushner is heading over to Russia, a guy who could not clear with background checks, is now going off to probably at least our top 3 adversary in the world in order to negotiate a peace plan that Vladimir Putin has already verbally stated that he's doubling down on the demand for Ukrainian territory ahead of the U.S. talks in order to even begin talking about that ridiculous, stupid 28-point plan, which is down now at least to 19.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you what this is about. Jared Kushner is going there to talk about the dollar figures and nothing else. He's coming there backed by the Saudis, the Emiratis, the Trump. It's about reintegrating. I think they're going to say, hey, listen, we understand you have these hard points you want to do, but let's talk about reintegrating you into the global financial network to where investment groups will want to invest in Russia. Because don't forget, I mean, Ukraine may be getting some of its power plants attacked and some of its cities were seized and destroyed. Moscow needs global funds to rebuild their country when this is done. Their power plants are getting hit. They were shitholes anyway, right? John McCain made the joke about gas station with atomic bombs. I made the joke that the Russians actually got mad about in Russia today, where I said, no, it's a trailer park with atomic bombs.
By the way, you know
You
what
know
else Russia needs desperately?
what?
Men. They need men and
Oh yeah.
children. Let me tell you
Mhm.
something. With the million male soldiers that have now died, right, as a result of this 2+ year war. I mean, they've lost an enormous number of male soldiers and so on. That and one of the reasons that they kidnapped all of those Ukrainian children is because they are on what's called the negative arc for uh, for for growth. That if you don't have a certain number of births each year, you go into a
Right.
negative decline, and once that decline hits a certain number, it's impossible to actually bring it back. Meaning that ultimately your population dies out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm certain at some point in
So,
the
by the way,
next
just so
20
you
years.
understand, Malcolm, the reason I brought that up,
Mhm.
Lev is already getting his visa to go to Russia. He's gonna he's gonna do he's gonna do
you're
his
gonna go pump
duties.
that population up.
He's
Are
gonna
you gonna
do
be the
his
Genghis
duties.
Khan of the post-Putin Russia, where everybody has a little Lev DNA? Start freezing it now. But all I'm saying is this, in 20 years, if this decline happens, and it's not like China. China took a big hit too during the
Yeah.
Great Cultural Revolution, where they started killing off all the girls and, having abortions and selling them all off to the United States because there were too many girls. Now they have fought like 2 men to 3 men to every girl, every woman, and they don't have marriage. But Russia is going to start looking like the Badlands in the book of Eli
Yeah.
in about 20 years, where
Great. Greatly. Yeah.
whole swaths of that
well,
country
listen,
are going to be uninhabited. And you know
listen.
what? China's going to start looking at that territory. If I were China right now, I'd look at
Yep.
taking everything east of Mongolia.
Well,
Just they could walk in there tomorrow and win that war, even with atomic bombs.
Well, let me give a little history for a lot of people on here that have never maybe been to Russia, so understand, because when we talk about Russia, you think they have such a mess. If you look at the globe, you see so much land, and then when you look at Russia, you usually only look at one part, Moscow. You never look at really all of Russia, because that's
Right.
not
Everything to the
about
east.
5%, 7% of Russia is Moscow and St. Petersburg, which is you could say really very modernized, very, westernized, has everything you could imagine and probably then some, the best of the best. But then the rest of the country, 95% of it, 93% is still living like it's the 1920s. Most of the places are still, farming their own food, don't have, easily internet. They might still have dial-up internet. They don't have easy accessible cable or television. They have a couple of channels that are, that's how the propaganda, that's why they're able to use the propaganda, because you have still the few channels where majority of the country watches. So that is what Russia is to begin with. That's why when we talk about, Russia's this powerful country winning, no, they're not this powerful country right now. They are in decline. Ukraine has been strategically destroying all of their oil. I mean, I think 40% of their oil supplies. Right now, if Donald Trump just walks away and does nothing, and allows Ukraine to continue, Russia will you will see Russia to the talk come, either get their asses handed to them or come to the talk to the table really quickly, because they're at a standstill. They're not taking any land. The terrorists. Just think about the fact that you're seeing that people are dying every day. It's because they're doing terrorist acts. They're sending
Mm-hmm.
rockets and jihads and these things into civilian places. Ukraine could do the same thing. Anybody, but
They don't.
they're not terrorists. That's why Ukraine
No, that's right.
strategically hits military targets. That is why Russia on the battlefield itself, and Malcolm could tell you, in the past 4 years or in the past 3 years, haven't moved anywhere. It's a stalemate. So that's why when Trump walks around, and I was cracking up when they asked him on Air Force One, what Ukraine, you're asking Ukraine to give so many concessions. Give me one concession, Russia. You're asking Russia to concede. He goes, what do you mean? They're going to stop taking territory. I almost fell down. Like, this guy's a total moron. Like, what territory? If they, like, he really believes that it's because of him, for some reason, that Ukraine is still standing strong. He really thinks that it's because of him that Putin has not taken over Kiev or Ukraine. He is so, living in a different world, and that is why. Because, and the one thing, what we did see in this phone call, I will tell you this, because it does remind me of how I used to negotiate between Trump and the Ukrainians, and going back into 2019, is Trump right now is living in his own world right now. He's living with the information that Kushner and Witkoff are bringing him. He's not listening to his intelligence. He's not listening to
No.
Hexag. He's not listening to anybody. And the message that's being told to them, and these two guys, especially Witkoff, is playing interpreter, but also intermediary. The same exact thing I used to do between Zelensky and Trump, between what's it called, Firtash and Trump. It was basically, you knew the beast you were dealing with. Witkoff knows that what he needs to get the deal done is for them to kiss Trump's ass and to praise him. And that's why he's telling, he goes, you want to get this done? You want to push this through? This is what Trump needs, because this, you go out there and you say that he's this great negotiator.
Right.
Stroke his ego. Go ahead.
But here's the problem. You could stroke his ego, and Trump will get on television, and he will, again, on Fox News and OAN and Newsmax, and say, I deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm going to bring peace to Ukraine. I'm going to stop the war between Russia and Ukraine, and so on. And then all of a sudden, Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, takes a look at this capitulation, this surrender plan that they have, and he says, yep, thank you for trying, right? You get, Mr. President, you get the Gaylord Fokker participation award. That's about it, right? But there's not a fucking chance in hell that we're going to surrender, right, our country to Russia. And so while they're sitting there whacking each other off in the corner, right, having a fucking circle jerk of stupidity, at the end of the day, Zelensky's not doing it, and he's smart. One thing you got to say about Zelensky, he is incredibly shrewd. He managed to figure out how to bring every other NATO country into the fold here, where if the United States wants to walk away, sure, it'll be a problem for Ukraine, but they will not be without arms because they're already speaking to Italy, to France, to England, you name it. They're speaking to like 9 other countries that will supply them with weapons. The funny thing is, Russia is actually running out of shit on their own. They don't have an endless supply.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right about that. And Ukraine has been smart about this also. If you had told me 4 years ago that they would be developing their own cruise missiles because the United States would get to the point where we wouldn't give them anything, or long-range battlefield rockets that would go into the HIMARS because we intended to cut all ties with them, I wouldn't have believed it. I would go, well, we're the United States. We're the arsenal of democracy. Not anymore. Even Trump mocked him last week for buying American weapons. Mocked him. Oh, he was going to come here and buy U.S. weapons using European money. Fuck you. $50 billion of European money can be better spent in Europe. It's closer, it's faster, and they don't require the amount of artillery. They have a factory in Ukraine now that's working with Rheinmetall, building artillery shells. Every country in Europe is maximum producing artillery, not just for Ukraine, for themselves in a future war for Russia. There were only 2 things we were really giving to Ukraine that they didn't have, and that was Patriot missiles to shoot down the interceptors. Now there's a joint Raytheon Raytheon and another company, it might be Rheinmetall, that is building a Patriot interceptor that's better, that fits into the Patriot missile launcher and operates with all the Patriot stuff, because Germany has Patriot too. But that and intelligence, and to tell you the truth right now, the level of intelligence Ukraine is getting from everybody else in its own sources could completely replace
Hey,
the United
Malcolm,
States
while we're
intelligence.
talking about intelligence, why don't you also give a little rift about the fact that no ally of America right now is sharing intelligence? I want our, we have a nice little group here on Thanksgiving. I want them to understand just how dangerous. How are you?
Hey.
Just how
That's
dangerous
my sister.
things
She
are
wants to say
right
hi to everybody.
Oh, your sister.
Malcolm, tell everybody that's with us right now how dangerous things are right now when our own allies refuse to share intelligence with us simply because they don't believe the intelligence is going to be kept where it's required and out of the hands of our adversaries.
Well, now Britain announced it officially, or it got out officially that Britain was going to do that. Britain had ties down in the Caribbean, of course, that go back centuries. I'm certain at this point that France is slow dragging or not sharing with us anything that's going on down there. And they occupy half of the islands in the Caribbean chain, and have great relations with these countries, including Guyana is right next to, Venezuela. So the United States can't come to them. The CIA can't come to them and go, hey, listen, we'd like to insert guerrillas in through your country, or bring special operations forces and then have them fly over and insert down into that place. They're not going to do it because Britain said,
why not, Malcolm? It would be the greatest flyover anybody has ever seen. There's never been a better flyover.
I'm flying B-52s from Louisiana.
We're going to be selling so many billions and billions of dollars, so many billions, your head's going to spin, to the Saudis. We're making more money than anybody. There's 27 trillion sitting on a tariff shelf. Hey, can you answer me something, Lev? How the fuck in the world is whether Boeing or whoever is selling F-35 aircraft to the Saudis? How does that help the United States? It's not like the United States owns Boeing or Raytheon or any of those. Why is it that people don't seem to turn around? The press refuse to say to Trump, okay, that's great that the United States is allowing the sale of 30 F-35s, but how is that going into the American pocket?
Dude, we're opening. Aren't we opening up also air base in Idaho or military bases in Idaho for the Qataris also?
we're making money.
I mean, it's just like none of it has to do with. I mean, this is the whole thing. This is the crazy, insane thing, is that none of it has to do with America first, and that is why I think it's a great segment to understand why his riff with Marjorie Greene and her running from the ship. Also, I've wrote about my Substack, and now there's confirming reports about there's other congressmen and senators that are, planning on maybe retiring, not showing up to certain votes. There's even talk that, as bad as Hakeem Jeffries is, without any leadership, he might end up, by accidentally falling on getting the gavel. You know what I'm saying to you? Before
if he could pop in and be speaker next January, February, or March, that would be great.
I certainly hope not. I'm sick and tired of his bullshit too. I want somebody that's going to get up there like a Jasmine Crockett and basically stick it up the ass of those that have been playing this political bullshit literally since January of this year.
I mean,
the day that Trump began. I want somebody that's going to walk in. The problem with Hakeem Jeffries is he tries to
how would the Raskin? No, forget Jeffries. How would the Raskin? I think Raskin would be able to rip. I mean, he's been and he's been
his press conferences would be hilarious.
Hilarious. I think you need this. I would have Raskin. I would have what's his name from Florida. From Florida, my
Matt
district.
Gaetz?
No.
Democrat. Who's from
Democrat.
Florida that's a Dem?
He's hilarious. Oh my God. Oh.
Well, the point is we have a wealth of people, but there still has to be a vote. There has to be a vote. And even if Jeffries were to fall into the speakership next week, there's still going to be a vote in January 2027 for the speaker. So, I actually said this on a podcast where he followed me, where I said, I swear to God, somebody explain to me this. There's no way this guy's from Brooklyn. There's no way. This guy talks like he's from Westchester.
Westchester. He sounds like he's from Greenwich.
He reminds me of P. He reminds me of P. Diddy. He wants to be that wannabe gangster.
He reminds me of.
No, I want to see the gangster.
He reminds me of like a country club Biff. Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. You're right. Maybe we should all just get along. Let's just all get along.
Jasmine Crockett.
How about you piece of shit, right? I want to see every fucking trade that you've made over the course, I know that it's legal, but I want to see every single trade that you've made and how you've actually manipulated the system for your own good. I'm just tired. Honestly, I'm sick and tired of the whole lot of stock and barrel.
Well, I'm doing that project where we're writing down all the bullet points for what we would like to see in a future Democratic version of Project 2027, and we're going to be having another. We're going to be having another one this week. But once some of the things that have been very prominent, that whoever the next speaker is, better demand that we are going to claw back every fucking dollar that these people made illegally. I want the money back, right? Everything. Every dollar spent to Doge, we need to go and take that away from fucking Elon Musk. And here's another thing that came up. Somebody came up with a great idea the other day. We are going to end all business subsidies.
Yep.
All of them. Every one of them. If it does not benefit, but go on. We can do that all day.
Go ahead. Take us out, and then Lev, I'm going to give you the final word there.
All right. Yeah, let's give thanks to the families of those two critically injured guardsmen. Let me tell you something. If you have not been in an ICU with your family member in critical condition, you're lucky. You need to have extra stuffing and cranberry tonight because that hasn't happened to you. It's horrible. Trust me, I spent 77 days in an ICU until it was all over. These kids didn't deserve this. Their families, I know what they're doing, flying to Washington. They get to the hospital and they run to the SICU and then live there the way I lived in it for 77 days. I had doctors ordering me out to go take showers and stuff. It's horrible. But we need to be thankful that they pull through this and that we bring that guy to justice. As long as we're here, can I say this? No fucking conspiracy theories about false flags to take away from Epstein and all the rest of it. That's bullshit. This guy's a fucking criminal. He might be a terrorist, and we will hold him to account for what he did and nothing else. Right? So let's get rid of conspiracy theories.
Amen, Malcolm, and definitely all of us, please, let's, today when we're sitting around the table, when we're, saying our prayers, let's say a prayer to those, two heroes and those two National Guardsmen, and hopefully they pull through it and for their families, because no family should be going through this. And in their name, all the, families out there that are, like Malcolm said, are spending time either in the ICU right now with their loved ones, either they can't be with their loved ones because they're overseas serving our country, or because, they're just going to work because they have to put food on the table. So there's a lot of different reasons. So for all of those that can't be with their family, God bless each and every one of you, and we support you. We care for you, and this is one of the reasons we built this family here, because this is no longer a community, folks, and that's why today we came out, and we're celebrating Thanksgiving all in different ways, different places, but we wanted to all join with you because you are our family. And that's why for all of you today, we want to say thank you for you, because of you, we're able to come out here and do this thing. For all of you subscribers, for all of you paid subscribers, for all of you out there that are contributing, going out there and, making, restacking this, sharing the messages. We see you, we love you, we care, and we thank you. And today, thank you. And have a happy Thanksgiving for
So,
all of you.
Yep.
it's crazy that you bring this up about ICU. In fact, 4 days
Mhm.
ago was 20 years. I was in ICU for a week, not supposed to survive when I was 39
Mhm.
years old. So yeah, I'm with you on that. The ICU sucks, especially when it's you who have the tubes up your nose, down your throat, and in
Mhm.
every vein of your body.
Mhm.
It's a terrible thing. My heart goes out, to these service members. And yes,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
with Malcolm on the fact that no conspiracies, theories, and statements, please. It's not helpful to us. But I want to end this episode of Unleashed with two things to say. The first is that Malcolm, Lev, and I will be hitting the streets. We are
Yeah.
working on that, and we hope that each and every one of you, when we come to your area, that you join us. And the last thing I want to say is, as I closed my Substack, so yes, today I am grateful for every spectacular misstep, every botched announcement, every scandal that reads like satire, because the American people are now wide awake. And in 2026, we're going to paint the electoral map in a deep, decisive, unmistakable blue. So, to all of you, happy Thanksgiving. Savor your meal, because the real feast comes next November, when we, the voters, carve the administrative up ourselves.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.